Hello, here I am again. Um, just back, get ready to talk, whatever's on my mind, um, things that cross my mind and stuff like that. So, let's talk about relationships. I'm not an expert on relationships. Lord knows I'm not an expert on relationships, but I just feel the need to talk about them. Whether they're just friendships or romantic relationships. Um, I've been in my relationship for 23 years now, and it hasn't been fun. It hasn't been easy. It's been a roller coaster, up and down, back and forth. Just crazy things going on, all types of crazy things going on. Um, but I stuck in there. And I'm still sticking in there. But there are days and there are some times where I just feel like walking out. Plenty of times I feel like walking out. A lot of times I should have walked out. But that's neither here or there. Um, why, as women, do we always feel the need to have to fix something? Um, I don't know why. I don't know why we feel that way. I guess it's just genetic in us, because we are automatically built that way, that we're fixers. We're here to help you. We're here to mold you. We're here for all of that. And we just feel like we have to do that. And a lot of us feel like we have to do that in our relationships. And you shouldn't have to do that in a relationship. When you get with somebody in a relationship, they should be all together. They should be all together. Not everyone is all together, not even yourself. But they should have it together. They should have most of it together. And so should you. So when y'all get into a relationship, y'all should be compromising each other. You know, I didn't use the right word. I apologize for that. But you should be connecting. Um, you should be evening each other out. You know, whatever weakness you have should be his strength. Whatever weakness he has should be your strength. Bring it together. That's what a relationship is. Compromise, trust, honesty, and compromise. Love comes. Love comes. It's something that love is something that's built and that grows. Um, so usually, most of the time, when you're with your partner, you care a lot about them, and you think you love them, or you say you love them, um, but it's really you care so much about them. You just care so much. You care about their well-being. It doesn't necessarily mean that you love them. It's just you just care about their well-being. And when you do that, you take on a strong feeling, and it makes you feel like you're in love with that person. And usually you're not. Usually you're not. Um, so like I said, I'm not an expert on relationships. I really don't. I don't even really know much about relationships, and I say that because I was never really taught how to be in a relationship with a man. I know how to be in a friendship with anybody, but being in romantic relationship with someone has been very tough for me, has always been very tough for me, just because of the person that I am, and because I didn't see it. I didn't see what a relationship was about. I did not get to see that. I didn't get to see my parents loving up on each other, but I didn't get to see negativity from each other either. But I didn't get to see what it was like for a woman to come home and have a man there that whatever, a woman comes home from work, or she's automatically home, and the love and the affection, the dating and the romance and the playfulness, and all that stuff. I didn't get to see all that stuff. I have no clue on what that stuff was like. I was just going by what I seen on TV. My mom married. My mother and father never got married, and they had a very short relationship. And I knew my dad growing up, was around him, around his family, growing up, not as much as I should have been. But hey, those are whatever those circumstances are. Both my parents are dead now. My mom's been dead going on 7 years. My father's been dead going on 2 years. Actually, it has been 2 years already. So, neither one of them showed me how to be in a romantic relationship. They showed me how to be friends to someone. They showed me how to be loyal to people, but they never showed me, how to build a relationship, a romantic relationship, how to build a family. That's one thing that they never really showed me, was how to build a family. I learned it. I kind of learned it by watching things on TV. Learned it a little bit from my mom, but what I really learned from my mother was just being strong and knowing that you got to work to survive, and being independent, being that headstrong woman, and not needing a man in your life, not needing them in your life, wanting them in your life, but not needing them in your life. And that's how I came up. She's very, she raised us. She was a single mom in all reality. She raised us single mom. She had to help in aspects of, the fathers doing what they were supposed to do. But again, she was a single mother. She did marry my stepfather at a I forgot how old I was. I think I was 6. So they stayed together for 10 years. So I did have a male figure in my life, and somebody else that was in the household that I did call dad. But it wasn't what I thought it should have been. It wasn't what I thought it should have been. It wasn't fairy tale. And real life isn't fairy tale, but it definitely wasn't what I thought it should have been. It wasn't bad, it wasn't horrible or anything, but it was basically nothing. Two people cohabitating, living their lives, sharing bills, talking occasionally, laughing occasionally, taking me to the park, doing things like that. But it just wasn't what I thought it should have been. So, yeah, I'm all out of whack when it comes to relationships and what relationships should be like and everything. Just headstrong. I've always been, a headstrong type of female where it was just like, I don't need you to do shit. Excuse my language. But that's just my attitude. I could do that. I could pay my own bills. I could drive my own car. Whatever it takes, I could do it. I would like for you to be there if you want to be there, but I don't always want you there, and I don't always need you there. And that was my aspect, my intake of it. That's just how I took it, and to this day, at 47 years old, that's how I still take it. And I haven't been in that many relationships. You start out your first dating when you're a teenager and stuff like that, and then you grow, and then you do what you do, and then you grow and you get. So the relationship that I'm in now, I started in my early 20s. I was 24. It just came into something that I didn't even expect it to go to. I really didn't expect it to go where it went at all. The things that has happened in that relationship is just neither here or there, off the chain. And one day I will probably be sharing that with people, but that's neither here or there right now. But having somebody being able to tolerate the type of person that I am, is crazy. So I dealt with that. I accepted that. Even though things are not right, things are completely wrong, I just deal with the fact that somebody is willing to accept me for who I am with all my flaws, because I'm not perfect, nowhere near perfect. I suffer from depression, and just I'm a control freak. I have to be in control. Everything has to be my way or the highway. Basically I want to be the man in the relationship. But that's how I was raised, and I don't know any different. And it's hard for me to know any different or to learn any different. Even when I dated other people, in my teens, I always was the dominated one. Always the dominated one. Just had to be in control. And when I look back on it, I look and see why these individuals really didn't, they bonded with me, but not in ways that I thought that they should have. They just used to say I was just too much to handle, too much to handle. And when I think about it and I go back and I think about the things, and I'm like, I was definitely a little bit too much to handle. I pulled no punches. I played no games. Um, I was just straightforward, like just straightforward talk, straightforward with everything, straight honest with everything. Um, and when you came to me, I needed you to be honest too. When you stepped into my circle, I needed you to be honest too, and trustworthy and loyal. And then when you broke that, or if you broke it, and when you broke it, it just became a problem. It just became a problem because either I walked away from you, or I started treating you the same way. So, and that became a problem. And I started treating the guys the same way they treat me. They didn't understand that. They thought that that was like the most. I ain't never seen no girl do nothing like that before. I never seen a girl act like a dude like that before. We all could do the same thing. We're all human. We do what we do. Now I get to know what it feels like. That was always my mojo and my attitude. And then, I fell in love once in my entire life. Once. Um, and usually they say when you fall in love once, you never fall in love again. I believe that. I truly believe that, because after that relationship, I cared about everybody else and I had love for everybody else, but I was never in love the way I was in love with that individual. So, looking back and thinking about how I could have changed things or improved things, I should have done this a little different. I should have done that a little different. But again, I can't blame myself for something that I didn't know. I wasn't taught, nor was I shown. All I was shown was how to go to work, how to talk, how to deal. I didn't know how to be that I guess that comforter, that cushion, that comforter. I didn't have time for that. It was like, for me, it was hustle and bustle. You get up, you do it, you go. It's the end of it. Your feelings is hurt. That's part of life. Fuck it. You get hurt, you bounce back. You get up, you knock, it's what it's going to be. What's feelings? I mean, we had feelings. We know what feelings is, but it was just always a push. You fell? You all right? Okay, good. Get up, you good. Things like that. I mean, don't get me wrong. She loved us. She gave us hugs. She was there. She had our back. That was our go-to. That was our go-to. Our mom was our go-to. She was this hard rock woman. She was the woman. She was best mom ever. I would not trade her and for anything and anybody in the world, and if I could get her back, I would love to have her back right now, for anything, because I wouldn't trade her for anything for the world, because what she did for us was she taught us how to survive. And that is the best thing you can do for your children. The best thing you can do for your children. You can teach them how to love. You can teach them, how to build relationships and things like that. But the best thing was to teach us how to survive in all types of situations possible. And that's what she knew because that's how she grew up. She had to survive. So that's what she taught us. So, out of the three of us, only one of us has been married. And he tried it. And he's exactly like my mom. And he tried it. It didn't work out, but that's neither here or there. I've never been married, and the oldest boy has never been married. Did I ever want to be married? Absolutely. Absolutely. I wanted to be married. But just never went there. It just never happened. I never found the person. I never found the right person, So what you gonna do about it? Cry over spilled milk, or just get up and address the situation, dust yourself off, and keep moving? Because that's what life is. You got to keep moving, because life is going to keep moving. The world is a 360. The world is a circle. It's not a flat surface. So you don't just go on that flat surface and keep going, and then it just drops off, like a cliff. No, the world is a circle. It keeps revolving. It keeps going and going and going. And that's what you got to do. You got to keep going until you can't go no more. And that's what our mom taught us. She taught us that just keep going. Care for people when you can. Be there for people when you can. Know the right people to be there for. Which was something that she did teach us. And again, that's that loyalty. Figuring your way out, figuring your way through life, protecting yourself and guiding yourself. I miss her. I do. I miss her a lot. She was my angel, my guardian angel. She was my life. She was definitely my life. She was my world. She was my world. She was, and without her being here these last 7 years, has been crazy for me as a person. And I think that's where I've gone deeper into my depression stage and deeper into having the attitude of not really caring about much of anything. And a lot of the reasons why I keep moving and doing what I do is because I am a mom. I have children that need me. So that's the only reason I keep moving and doing the stuff that I do. That I can't say that's the only reason. Also, the other reason is her. I'm doing it for her. I know that she would not want me to give up that easily and not just lay down and die. She was a fighter, and she raised us to be a fighter. I remember my last day with her. And she was still fighting. She was home, and we went down there to see her, and so it was just me and her. The kids had left with their dad, and it was just me and her this last particular day down there with her. And I had cooked dinner for her, and stuff, and made pork chop. I made pork chops and macaroni and cheese and collard greens, and she ate it. And I had cut the pork chop up for her, and I was eating the pork chop sandwich because that's what I've always eaten. And she was like, she sat there and she looked at me and she was like, "What are you eating?" I said, "I'm eating the same thing you're eating." She was like, "You cut mine up." I was like, "Oh, excuse me. I thought you would like it cut up." She's like, "I want a sandwich." So I took it and I got another pork chop and made her a sandwich. But but um she enjoyed it. She did, and I appreciate the fact that she enjoyed it. That was the last meal that we had together. That was the last meal. I was grateful that I made that last meal for her. That I made the meal. But we sat there, and I sat there and I shook my head, and I just shook my head, and she's like, "What's wrong?" And I was like, "I don't know. I don't know what's wrong." I mean, I wasn't crying when I said it, but I was like, "I don't know what's wrong." And she looked at me and she grabbed my hand and she said, "It's gonna be all right. It's gonna be all right. And you are gonna be all right." And so her saying that to me, made me feel better. It made me feel a little better. But those were her words. It's gonna be okay. And you're gonna be okay. And that's what keeps me going. Besides my children, her words saying you're gonna be okay. She wouldn't want me to fall. She wouldn't want me to fail. She wouldn't even want me to be this upset and sad. But this is just me and who I am. I lost my best friend, the person that would have done anything for me, and that has always been there for me and never failed me. Hard. So hard. It was hard, man. It's hard. It's most hardest, one of the hardest things that I had to deal with in my life. And we all have to deal with this one day. We do. We really do. And I think why it was so hard for me is because when I say she was my world, she was my world. She was my everything. I didn't, I on my mom's side of the family was not a big family. On my dad's side, it is a big family. And so and the kids were so spread far out in age on my mom's side of the family, so I didn't get to grow up with my cousins or anything like that. So it was a little different. My family was a little different, and so that's why I said my mom was my world. She was everything. She was my mother, my father, my sister, my brothers, even though I had brothers, my aunts, my uncles, my grandmothers, my grandfather. my best friend, my enemy, you know, everything. So growing up, I didn't know what I missed out on. I didn't miss anything because I may not, I didn't have a grandfather. I never met my grandfather. I don't know, my dad was there, but he wasn't there all the time. My grandmother didn't have, grandmoms were not in my life, so favorite aunts couldn't call no aunt to talk to them and laugh with or nothing like that. None of that. None of that. So, but growing up at those times and at those moments, I didn't think about that. I didn't think about that. It didn't affect me because my mother was she was such a whole person that she felt every single one of those voids if I felt. So I didn't I didn't know what it felt like. So I felt like I had everybody around me because my mother was everybody to me. And so when she left, when she passed away, that was what I mean by she was my world. She was my world. And the relationship that I'm in, I don't think he truly understood that. Like, how is that possible? And when you're raised the way I was raised, if you were raised the way I was raised, you would understand. You would truly understand where I'm coming from. She was my life. She was my life. But I'm working through it day by day, every day. I look at my kids and I laugh and I smile. Because sometimes they say and do things she would have done. Especially my Mia, my daughter. So, and then, 5 years go by after her death, and then my dad dies. We weren't close. We weren't really close. My dad and I really started forming a bond when I had my kids. Loved him, had love for him, but we just wasn't close. It's what it was. Then we started growing a bond, and I I had said, since my mom is gone, why not? You only got one parent left. Why not start building that bond, getting it strong? Maybe you have 10 years with this person. Who knows? Then next thing I know, I blink and he's sick and he's gone. So, it, love your people and be there for your people no matter what has happened in your life, no matter whether they was there for you, not there for you, whatever it is, but make sure you're prominent in their life and be there. Because life is short. Life is short. It truly is. In 1 minute somebody's there and then the next minute they're not. Yeah, yeah, it's what that is. It really is. That's it for now. See you next time.